Poor secretary rents a boyfriend for $500. He's a millionaire CEO who changes her life. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now let's get back to our main character. Lucy Hale presses her back against the cold metal door of the office copy room, her breath shaking as the budget printer spits out page after page like it is mocking her life. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, too harsh, too honest, reminding her of every flaw she has been trying to hide. The half-torn heel on her discount shoes, the coffee stain she failed to scrub out of her blouse, the dark circles from working 2 jobs just to keep her mother's medical bills from swallowing her whole. She clutches her phone so tightly her fingers ache. On the screen, her sister's text glows like a verdict. If you don't bring a boyfriend to Mom's birthday this weekend, Uncle Ray is going to force her to sell the house. He already has a buyer. Please, Lucy, do something. Her stomach twists. That house isn't just a house. It is the last piece of her father they have left. The last place her mother remembers clearly before the illness stole pieces of her memory. Lucy's voice breaks inside her own head. She has no boyfriend. No one to parade in front of her controlling relatives. No one to defend her mother from Uncle Ray's constant threats. She barely has enough money for groceries. But she has 48 hours. And in desperation, people do strange things. Her thumb hovers over a small, discreet app she swore she would never touch. The kind people whisper about, but never admit using. Renedate. Temporary companionship. No romance. No complications. The profiles scroll past. Overly filtered gym bros, wannabe actors, a guy holding a fish. And then, him. A simple profile photo. A man in a plain gray t-shirt, sitting at a diner booth, looking away from the camera like he doesn't want attention. No flexing. No smirk. Just calm. The bio is even stranger. $500 for a weekend. I show up, act the part, leave when it's done. No questions. Lucy bites her lip. $500 is nearly her entire monthly rent. But if acting like she has a boyfriend keeps her uncle from cornering her mom and forcing a sale, what choice does she have? Her fingers shake as she hits request. A message comes instantly. Meet tomorrow. 8 p.m. I choose the location. No name attached. Just an empty gray circle where a face should be. She swallows hard, the knot in her throat burning. A secretary renting a stranger for a weekend. How pathetic would that sound to anyone else? But right now, survival is louder than shame. Her shift ends late. She steps out of the building, and the city air slaps her with its December chill. She tugs her thin coat tighter, boots scraping against the cracked pavement as she makes her way to the address he sent. An old coffee shop tucked between a pawn store and a tax office. Nothing fancy. Nothing flashy. Maybe that's a good sign. She pushes the door open, the bell chiming softly, and her eyes land on the only man sitting alone. Tall, broad-shouldered, hands wrapped around a mug of black coffee. And even under the dim yellow lights, he looks nothing like the blurry profile photo. His presence shifts the entire room. Not loud. Not arrogant. Just controlled. Like someone used to being obeyed. He lifts his eyes, slow and steady, and for a second Lucy forgets how to breathe. Those eyes, sharp, calculating, observant in a way that makes her feel seen and exposed all at once. Lucy, he asks, voice smooth, deep, unsettlingly calm. She nods, sliding into the seat across from him, her hands trembling under the table. He studies her for a long moment. You need someone to play your boyfriend. 48 hours. Family event. High pressure. Her heart stutters. How did you? People don't rent strangers for easy weekends. He opens a folder, a real paper folder, like he already prepared. I have terms. Of course he does. No kissing unless necessary. No personal questions. No discussion about my job. I stay by your side the entire weekend. You pay half now, half when the job is done. She nods quickly, afraid he'll change his mind. Do you accept? Yes, she whispers. He stands, offering his hand. She shakes it, surprised by how warm and steady his grip is. Then I'm yours for the weekend, he says, almost too quietly. What Lucy does not know, What she cannot know is that the man she just rented like a prop is not some struggling side gig actor. He is Ethan Cross, the elusive, brutally efficient millionaire CEO who owns the very company whose office she works in. And this weekend is about to change everything. Lucy steps out of the coffee shop with Ethan walking beside her, the cold December air brushing against her cheeks as she tries not to look like she is shaking. She cannot tell if it is the weather, nerves, or the fact that this mysterious man seems to read every thought she tries to hide. They stop under a street lamp, its light flickering over the cracked sidewalk. Ethan checks his watch, then looks at her with that calm, unreadable expression again. "We leave tomorrow afternoon," he says. "Family events usually run late. Be ready for a long night." Lucy nods quickly. She feels like a student being briefed by a professor, not someone who just rented a boyfriend for a weekend. "There is one more thing," he adds. "For this to work, we need to practice." Her eyes widen. "Practice what?" "Convincing everyone that we are a real couple," he says, matter of fact. "Walk with me." He starts moving without waiting, and she has no choice but to follow. He leads her toward a quiet parking lot behind the coffee shop, lit only by a few dim security lamps. Ethan stops and turns toward her. "Stand closer," he instructs. She hesitates. He sighs gently. "Lucy, your family will not believe anything if you stand like you are trying to escape." She inches closer, staring at her shoes. "Look at me," he says. His voice is low, firm, not harsh, but commanding in a way that makes her chest tighten. She forces herself to meet his eyes. He steps forward, just enough that she can feel the warmth radiating from him even in the cold. "When people ask how we met," he says, "you will smile first. Then you will look at me like I am someone you trust. That is the key." "Trust?" she whispers. "Yes," he replies, "even if it is temporary." The way he says temporary carries a heaviness Lucy cannot decode. She practices smiling, glancing at him, pretending to be comfortable. She fumbles every attempt. He watches her patiently, correcting her posture, her hand placement, even the way she breathes when she speaks. "You are too stiff," he murmurs. "Relax your shoulders." She tries. "Not that much," he adds. "You look like you are about to faint." A tiny laugh slips out of her. For a moment, his expression softens like he is surprised she made that sound. When they finish, Ethan walks her to the bus stop. Snow begins to drift down, soft and weightless. Lucy hugs her coat tighter. "Why are you doing this?" she finally asks. "You could have said no." Ethan looks at her for a long moment before answering. "Everyone has reasons," he says quietly. "Some we talk about, some we do not." She wants to ask more, but a bus approaches, its headlights cutting through the night. "Get some rest," he says. "Tomorrow will be intense." Lucy gets on the bus, gripping the cold metal pole as she watches him through the window. He stands there without moving, hands in his coat pockets, snow gathering in his hair. He looks nothing like a man who needs $500. He looks like someone hiding from something much bigger. When she finally reaches her small apartment, she collapses onto her bed. The heater rattles weakly, barely warming the room. She stares at the ceiling, replaying every moment. The controlled tone in his voice. The way he prepared a folder. The precision in his instructions. No ordinary side gig worker behaves like that. Not with that level of discipline. She touches her phone, wondering if she should search his name. But she realizes she does not know his name. Not his real one. She drifts into a restless sleep. The next afternoon comes too quickly. Lucy waits outside her apartment, suitcase in hand, praying her neighbors do not see her. A sleek black SUV rolls to a stop in front of her building. Her mouth falls open. Ethan steps out from the driver's side, wearing a charcoal coat and leather gloves. He looks sharper, more polished, more intimidating than last night. "You drive this?" she blurts out before she can stop herself. "It gets me from place to place," he answers. She has no idea that the vehicle costs more than her mother's entire house. He takes her suitcase, placing it gently in the trunk. "Ready?" he asks. She nods, but her heart races faster than her thoughts. As she climbs into the passenger seat, Lucy has one overwhelming feeling. Everything about this man is a mystery. And whatever he is hiding, she is walking straight into it this weekend. The ride to Lucy's hometown takes almost 3 hours, and every minute of it feels like a quiet test she is not sure she is passing. Ethan drives with a focus that borders on surgical precision, his posture straight, his expression unreadable, his hands steady on the steering wheel as the highway stretches endlessly before them. Lucy sits stiffly, clutching her purse on her lap as if it is a seat belt for her nerves. Every so often, she steals a glance at the man beside her. His jawline, sharp under the afternoon light. His eyes, always scanning the road like he is guarding something more valuable than the vehicle itself. Nothing about him fits the image of a man who rents himself out for $500. Nothing. Her suspicion grows by the mile, but the contract forbids questions, and she is too afraid to break the rules. Minutes blur until his voice finally cuts through the silence. "Your family?" he asks calmly. "What should I expect?" She exhales shakily. "They are loud, judgmental. My uncle can be harsh. He likes power, and he uses it." Ethan absorbs this without comment, but his fingers tighten slightly on the wheel. She continues. "My mother is sweet, but she is sick. She forgets things sometimes. My sister means well, but she panics easily." She sighs. "They will judge you. They will judge us. They always do." Ethan nods once. "Then we give them nothing to question." She fidgets. "Ethan, what if I mess up?" His eyes flick toward her, steady and controlled. "I will cover you. Just stay close to me." Something about the way he says it warms her chest, almost painfully. By the time they reach her neighborhood, the sun is dipping low behind rows of modest one-story houses. Kids ride bicycles along the cracked pavement, and the scent of backyard barbecue fills the air. Lucy's stomach knots tighter with every passing second. This world does not match the sleek black SUV rolling slowly down the street, and even through the tinted windows, neighbors stop and stare. When they pull into her mother's driveway, the front curtains shift slightly. Someone is watching. Lucy swallows hard. This is it. Ethan steps out first, circling around to open her door like a trained gentleman. The gesture is so smooth, so practiced, she nearly forgets to breathe. He picks up her suitcase effortlessly. "Stay close," he murmurs again, almost too quietly for her to hear. As they walk toward the front door, it swings open before she can even knock. Her sister, Megan, stands there, eyes wide, jaw almost hitting the floor as she stares at Ethan. "Lucy," she whispers loudly. "You did not tell me he looks like that." Heat rushes up Lucy's neck. Ethan offers a polite nod. "Nice to meet you, Megan." His voice is warm, polite, and perfectly believable. Megan melts instantly. "My mother is in the kitchen. Uncle Ray is in the living room pretending he does not care that you are here, but he definitely cares." Ethan leans slightly toward Lucy. "Remember," he murmurs, "we act like a couple." She nods, trying to breathe normally. They step inside. The house smells like warm cornbread and old memories. Every framed photo on the walls seems to shout the story of a family that once had more than they do now. Her mother appears from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel, and the way her face lights up when she sees Lucy makes Lucy's chest ache. "Oh, honey, you made it," her mother exclaims. But then her eyes shift to Ethan. They widen a little. "And who is this handsome young man?" Lucy freezes, unsure what to say, but Ethan steps in with that same controlled grace he has shown since the moment she met him. He gently places a hand on Lucy's back, warm and supportive. "I am Ethan," he says softly. "Lucy's boyfriend. Thank you for having me." Her mother blushes like a girl. "My goodness, I did not know Lucy was hiding such a gentleman." Uncle Ray appears from the living room, arms crossed, expression sharp as a blade. "Boyfriend, huh?" he says, voice dripping doubt. "We will see about that." Ethan meets the older man's gaze without flinching. Something unspoken passes between them, a quiet challenge, a silent measuring of power. Lucy feels her pulse spike. She had hoped Ethan could handle her family. She did not expect him to dominate the room in under 60 seconds. Dinner is served in the cramped dining room, and the moment everyone sits, the interrogation begins. "Ethan, what do you do for work?" Uncle Ray asks, narrowing his eyes. "I work with clients," Ethan replies smoothly, sidestepping the truth without blinking. "Long hours. Demanding environment." "Sounds vague," Uncle Ray mutters. Suspiciously vague. Lucy's heart jumps into her throat, but before she can panic, Ethan simply reaches across the table and takes her hand. Her breath catches. "I am here because of Lucy," he says calmly. "That is all that matters tonight." Her mother places a hand over her heart. Megan looks ready to swoon. Uncle Ray scowls. But even he cannot deny the authenticity in Ethan's voice. Lucy sits frozen, letting the warmth of his hand seep into her palm, wondering how a man who is supposed to be acting can make it feel so devastatingly real. And somewhere deep inside her chest, a dangerous thought begins to grow. What if this is the part of the weekend she will not be able to walk away from? The dining room grows warmer with every passing minute, but Lucy feels colder with every probing question her uncle keeps throwing across the table. It is as if he is intentionally trying to break the illusion before it has a chance to settle. Ethan never falters. His voice remains calm, steady, almost soothing, even when Uncle Ray pushes harder than necessary. "So, Ethan," Uncle Ray says, stabbing his fork into a piece of roast chicken, "how much money do you make?" Lucy nearly chokes on her water. "Uncle Ray," she sputters, "you cannot just ask people that." "Why not?" he snaps back. "A man dating my niece should have stability." Ethan wipes his mouth with his napkin, completely unbothered. "I make enough to take care of myself," he replies. "And enough to take care of someone I care about." Lucy feels heat crawl up her neck. Did he have to say it like that? Her mother, glowing with happiness just from seeing Lucy with someone, clasps her hands together under her chin. "He is lovely, Lucy," she whispers. "I can feel it." But Uncle Ray is not done. He leans forward, eyes narrowing. "Where exactly do you work? Give me the company name." Lucy's heart drops. This is the one question Ethan absolutely cannot answer. This is the moment the entire act should start falling apart. But Ethan does not blink. "I handle private clients," he says. "Confidential work. Which means I protect their privacy and mine." "So you refuse to answer?" Uncle Ray challenges. "I respect boundaries," Ethan says smoothly, "even when others do not." The room goes silent. A quiet victory. Lucy wants to smile, wanted to take a breath. Instead, she feels the weight of Ethan's hand gently brushing her wrist beneath the table. It is not a romantic gesture. It is reassurance. Steady, deliberate reassurance. Dinner ends with her mother offering dessert and Megan whispering to Lucy, "He is perfect. I swear you got lucky." Lucy forces a smile, but inside her chest, something unsettled twists. Lucky? She paid him to be here. Nothing about this is luck. When her mother steps into the kitchen to get pie and Megan follows to help, Uncle Ray stands, motioning for Ethan to join him in the living room. A private conversation. A test. Lucy's stomach churns. Ethan rises without hesitation. "Stay here," he murmurs to her. "I will handle it." The moment they disappear into the next room, Lucy presses her hands to her face. She cannot hear what they are saying. Only the low rumble of Uncle Ray's gruff voice and Ethan's calm replies. 5 minutes feel like 50. Finally, Ethan returns. He sits beside her, not quite touching her, but close enough for her to feel his warmth. "What did he say?" she asks, terrified of the answer. Ethan looks at her calmly. "He asked if I intended to marry you." Lucy's jaw drops. "What? We just met." "Yes," Ethan says. "I told him we take things one step at a time. But I also told him that when I make a commitment, I honor it." Lucy stares at him, stunned. "Why would you say that?" His expression does not change, but something flickers in his eyes. "Because that is what he needed to hear. And what keeps him from pressuring your mother tonight?" She swallows hard. He thought of that. He thought of everything. Before she can respond, her mother returns with dessert, cheerful and oblivious to the silent battle that just took place. After pie, after forced laughter, after the longest dinner of Lucy's life, it is finally time for Ethan and Lucy to leave. They step outside into the cool night air, and Lucy takes a deep breath. The sky is clear. The stars are faint but visible. "Thank you," she whispers as they walk toward the SUV. "You did not have to defend me like that." Ethan opens the passenger door for her. "I told you," he says softly. "This weekend, I am yours. I do my part. You do more than that," she murmurs before she can stop herself. He pauses, just for a moment, studying her face with an intensity that sends a shiver down her spine. Then he closes the door gently. The drive back to the small rental cabin begins in silence, but not the uncomfortable kind. Lucy watches him from the corner of her eye, again noticing things that should not make sense. The way he checks the mirrors with trained precision. The way he scans the surroundings before unlocking the door. The way he stands, tall and protective, when they arrive. No ordinary renter behaves like this. No ordinary man carries himself with that level of authority. When they step inside the cozy cabin prepared for the weekend, Lucy sets down her bag and turns toward him. "Ethan," she whispers, "who are you, really?" He meets her gaze, but instead of answering, he says something that makes her entire body tense. "We should get some rest. Tomorrow is the big family gathering." He is hiding something. She knows it now more than ever. And tomorrow, she fears, whatever he is hiding might not stay hidden for long. The morning sunlight filters through the thin curtains of the rental cabin, brushing Lucy's face with a warmth she desperately wishes she felt inside. She blinks awake and hears quiet movement in the small kitchen. When she sits up, she sees Ethan already dressed, already composed, already pouring 2 cups of coffee like he has been awake for hours. He turns as if he sensed her before she spoke. "Good morning," he says, offering her a cup. She wraps her hands around it, grateful for the heat. "You did not sleep much, did you?" she asks softly. "Enough," he replies, but the faint shadows under his eyes tell a different story. There is something about him she cannot shake, as if 100 unspoken battles live behind those quiet blue eyes. She takes a sip. "Today is the big gathering," she murmurs. He nods, calm as ever. "Then today we make sure your family believes in us." The words settle strangely in her chest. They prepare to leave, and once again Ethan opens the cabin door first, scanning the surroundings before motioning her through. She notices it this time. It is not habit. It is training. But she cannot ask. Not yet. The drive to her aunt's house takes only 10 minutes, but it feels longer because Lucy's heartbeat refuses to settle. Cars line the street. People gather on the front lawn, laughing, carrying casseroles, waving at relatives they have not seen in months. It is loud, chaotic, overwhelming. Ethan steps out first, then comes to her side, offering his hand. "Remember," he murmurs, "I am right here." She nods and lets him guide her toward the house. The moment they step inside, dozens of eyes turn toward them. Conversations pause. Someone whistles under their breath. Her cousin Lacey leans toward another cousin and whisper shouts, "Lucy brought a model." Lucy wishes she could disappear. Ethan remains unaffected, greeting people politely, his posture effortlessly confident. When an older aunt pinches Lucy's cheeks and says, "Honey, where did you find this man?" Lucy nearly chokes, but Ethan gently squeezes her hand and smoothly answers, "She found me by accident. I am the lucky one." The women around them melt instantly. But the real storm hits when Uncle Ray reappears, arms crossed tightly. He stares at Ethan like he is trying to peel back layers with sheer force. "So you survived last night," Uncle Ray mutters. Ethan does not blink. "I have handled far worse." Lacey squeals. He is funny too. Ethan is not trying to be funny, but it works. The gathering moves to the backyard where long tables are covered in mismatched tablecloths and trays of potluck food. Children race across the lawn, adults gossip under umbrellas, and someone fires up a small grill. As Lucy helps her mother arrange plates, she feels Ethan behind her before she even turns. He sets his hand lightly on the small of her back, a gesture so natural that even she almost forgets it is part of an act. "You are doing great," he murmurs. She swallows. "I feel like I am going to pass out." "Then stay close," he replies. "If you stumble, I will catch you." Why does he say things like that? Why does her heart react every single time? Lunch is loud and messy, and for a moment Lucy lets herself relax. Ethan sits beside her, answering questions with careful vagueness, laughing lightly when her cousins joke, even offering to grill a few burgers. Her mother watches them with teary eyes, as if she is seeing Lucy's future unfold right in front of her. Lucy wants to warn her, wants to say it is not real, but her mother looks so happy, and the danger of breaking that illusion feels too heavy, until everything shatters in one careless moment. Megan comes rushing from the house, holding Lucy's phone high. "Lucy," she calls loudly, "your office emailed you. Something urgent." Lucy frowns. "My office? Why would—" But Megan is already handing her the screen. And there it is. The email signature she has seen 1,000 times. From the corporate system of Cross Enterprises. A system she knows only registered users can access. And the subject line hits her like ice water. Confirming weekend executive clearance. Lucy's breath stops. Executive clearance. Her chest tightens painfully. She looks slowly toward Ethan, who is standing only a few feet away, flipping a burger on the grill. But now that she knows what she is seeing, it is impossible to unsee it. The posture, the authority, the calm under pressure, the way he answered Uncle Ray without flinching, the way he carries himself like someone used to command. She stumbles back, heart hammering. Lucy. Ethan steps toward her. What is wrong? Her voice cracks. Executive clearance? Why would my office send that to me? Ethan freezes. It is the first time she has ever seen him lose composure. He opens his mouth, but no words come out quickly enough. Who are you? She whispers. The backyard noise fades. People stop talking. Eyes turn. Lucy. Ethan begins quietly. Let us talk somewhere private. No. She breathes, shaking her head. Tell me the truth. Right now. He closes his eyes briefly, as if choosing between truths that could break her either way. And then, in a low voice that trembles for the first time since she met him, he says, I am Ethan Cross. The name hits her like a blow. The name of the CEO of her company. The man who owns the tower she works in. The man who signs her paychecks. The man she cannot afford to be near. Her knees almost give out. You are my boss, she whispers, horrified. Her mother gasps softly behind her. Uncle Ray's jaw drops. Megan clamps a hand over her mouth. Ethan takes one step closer, his voice low, desperate. Lucy, please. I did not plan for you to find out like this. She shakes her head wildly. So this has been a game to you? A test? Or was I just something to entertain you for the weekend? It is not like that, he says, pained. Then what is it like? She demands. The entire party watches, silent and stunned. Ethan opens his mouth, struggling for words. I wanted to help, he says finally. And I wanted to be near you without the weight of who I am. I never meant to deceive you. Lucy's world spins. Her breath shakes uncontrollably. Everything was already too much. And now this. She steps back. I cannot do this. Lucy. Ethan whispers, reaching for her. Please. She turns away as tears burn her eyes. The contract is broken. The illusion is broken. And her heart, she realizes too late, is breaking too. She walks out of the backyard without looking back. Ethan stands frozen in place, surrounded by people, but more alone than he has ever been. Lucy's steps quicken as she walks away from the backyard, her heart pounding in her chest. The laughter and chatter of her family grow distant, the world around her growing blurry. She hears Ethan's voice calling her name, but she does not turn around. Her legs feel like lead, and every step she takes away from him feels like a betrayal. She reaches the front gate, her breath shaky, tears blurring her vision. How could she have been so blind? He was Ethan Cross, the CEO of the company she worked for, the man who paid her salary, the man who had been playing a game with her from the start. And yet, his words, the pain in his voice, still echo in her mind. I wanted to help. I wanted to be near you without the weight of who I am. Lucy stumbles to a stop, shaking her head as if she could shake away the emotions that rise inside her. She had been so sure that what they had was real, but everything was a lie. Her phone buzzes in her pocket. She knows it's Ethan. She doesn't even need to check. Her fingers hover over the screen for a moment, but she doesn't answer. She can't. She doesn't know what to say anymore. Lucy leans against the fence, trying to steady herself, the cool metal pressing into her palms. She closes her eyes, willing the world to make sense again. The noise from the party fades, replaced by the sound of her own heartbeat, the only thing she feels right now. A few minutes pass before she feels a presence beside her. She doesn't need to look up to know it's him. Ethan's footsteps are unmistakable, as is the quiet way he approaches. He doesn't say anything at first. He stands beside her, just close enough that she can feel the warmth of his body, but far enough to give her space to breathe. Lucy, he says softly, his voice low and hesitant. I know you want to be angry, and you have every right to be. But please, just let me explain. She opens her eyes and turns her head, her gaze meeting his, but she doesn't speak. He takes a slow breath, his eyes filled with regret, with something else she can't quite place. I never meant for it to get this far, he continues. I wanted to experience something real with you, not just because I could afford it, but because I wanted to. Real? She whispers, her voice barely audible. Is that what you call this? A lot. Ethan flinches at the word. No, it wasn't a lie. It was a mistake. His words hang in the air between them, heavy with the weight of unspoken truth. I didn't know how to tell you the truth without losing everything. Without losing you. But now, I'm losing you anyway. Lucy feels her heart shatter at the vulnerability in his voice. He reaches for her hand, but she pulls back, not ready to let him in again, not ready to forgive him so easily. I don't know what to believe anymore, Ethan, she admits, her voice cracking. I don't know who you are. I'm the man who cares about you, he says softly, his voice steady despite the raw emotion in his eyes. I never wanted to hurt you. I just wanted to be normal with you. To have a moment where we weren't bound by titles or money or expectations. She shakes her head, the tears finally falling. But we can't just erase everything. We can't go back to before. Ethan's eyes soften. I know, he whispers. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for a chance to start over. To prove to you that this, what we have, is real. That I'm real. Lucy stands there for a moment, feeling the weight of his words settle in her chest. She wants to believe him. She wants to believe that the man standing in front of her is the same man who held her hand last night. The same man who made her laugh, who made her feel safe. But the truth is, she doesn't know him. Not really. Not yet. Ethan waits, his eyes searching hers for a sign. He doesn't move, doesn't speak, as if he's giving her the space to make the decision. I need time, she says finally, her voice steady despite the tears. I need time to figure this out. He nods, his expression solemn. I can wait, he says quietly. Take all the time you need. She takes one last look at him before turning away, heading toward the driveway where her car waits. She doesn't look back. She can't. But deep down, she knows she's not walking away forever. She just needs time to understand who Ethan Cross really is, and whether the man she saw last night is the one she can truly trust. The ride home is silent. The weight of everything that has happened settles on her shoulders, heavy and unrelenting. She doesn't know what the future holds, but she knows one thing for certain. She's not done with Ethan yet. Not completely. Not yet. Lucy spends the next few days in a state of suspended animation, the world around her moving in slow motion, while her thoughts spin faster than she can keep up with. She goes through the motions, work, errands, meals, sleep, but all of it feels hollow, like she is waiting for something to change, for something to shift. Ethan's presence lingers, always in the back of her mind, his words echoing in her head. I'm the man who cares about you. I never wanted to hurt you. Every time she catches herself thinking about him, her heart stutters, unsure of how to feel, unsure of what to believe. It's not just about the money or the power or the lies. It's about trust. And she doesn't know how to rebuild something that was broken before it ever really began. She hasn't responded to his texts or his calls, and though she tells herself she needs space, a small part of her wonders if she's just hiding. The silence between them grows, and every day without him feels like a decision she has to make, but hasn't yet. The next Monday, as she enters the office, something feels different. There's a strange tension in the air, a ripple of unease that doesn't belong. Her colleagues are whispering in hushed tones, their heads swiveling as she walks past, their eyes wide, filled with something she can't quite place. When she sits down at her desk, her phone buzzes with an incoming message. It's from an unknown number. It's Ethan. I need to see you. Please. Her hands tremble as she stares at the screen. Her first instinct is to delete the message, to pretend it never happened, to run from the feelings that are still so raw. But something holds her back. She remembers his voice, his touch, the way he looked at her like she was something real, something more than the roles they had to play. With a deep breath, she taps out a response. Where? The message comes through almost immediately. The park. 3 p.m. I'll be waiting. She doesn't know why she agrees. Maybe it's the curiosity. Maybe it's the quiet hope that something will change. Maybe it's because, despite everything, she can't seem to let go. At 3 p.m. sharp, she walks through the gates of the park, the autumn air crisp against her skin, the trees shedding their leaves like the layers of her past. She spots him right away, standing by the old oak tree near the fountain. His posture is relaxed, his hands tucked into his pockets, but there's something in his eyes that tells her he's waiting for her, that he's been waiting for this moment. When he sees her, his face softens, just the slightest hint of relief crossing his features. Lucy, he says, his voice low, almost a whisper. She doesn't know what to say, so she says nothing. She simply walks toward him, her heart thudding loudly in her chest. I know you've been avoiding me, he continues. And I deserve that. But I need you to understand something. I'm not here to apologize for who I am or what I did. I'm here because I want you to know who I am outside of all the mistakes and the lies. He takes a step closer, his eyes never leaving hers. I'm Ethan Cross. Yes, I run the company you work for. Yes, I have power, I have money, and I've been using it for things that don't matter. But I've been honest with you about something else, too. About how I feel about you. About the fact that, when I met you, I didn't care about any of that. I cared about you. The real you. Lucy shakes her head, trying to process his words, but it's hard to separate the man standing before her from the one who deceived her. You've hurt me, Ethan, she says, her voice trembling with emotion. You've taken everything I believed and turned it into a lie. He nods, his expression pained. I know, and I hate myself for that. But I want to make it right. I want to prove to you that I can be someone you trust, someone who is worth believing in. She looks at him, her chest tight with a mixture of anger and longing. You want me to just forget everything? To act like none of it ever happened? He doesn't answer right away, his eyes searching hers, as if trying to find the right words. No, he says finally, his voice steady but vulnerable. I don't want you to forget. I want you to forgive. And I want to earn your trust back, piece by piece. There's a long pause as the world seems to stop around them, the sound of the fountain filling the silence. Lucy doesn't know what to say, doesn't know if she can even trust herself to speak. Her heart is still breaking, but it's breaking in a different way now, in a way that makes her feel like maybe, just maybe, there's a way forward. I don't know if I can forgive you yet, she says softly, but I'm willing to try. Ethan's eyes light up with something she hasn't seen in a long time, hope. He steps closer, his hand reaching out tentatively, as if afraid she might pull away. But she doesn't. She lets him take her hand, and for the first time since all of this started, she feels like she might be able to breathe again. That's all I need, he whispers. A chance. And for the first time, Lucy lets herself believe that maybe, just maybe, this could be the beginning of something real. She doesn't know what will happen next, but for the first time in days, she feels like she can finally move forward. Slowly, but surely, one step at a time. The days following their conversation in the park pass by in a blur of quiet moments and hesitant steps forward. Lucy goes back to work, her mind a constant whirlwind of thoughts about Ethan, about what he said, and about the possibility of forgiving him. Every time she sees him in the office, his gaze is steady, but it's not enough to erase the hurt. She still remembers how it felt to learn the truth about who he was. The power, the money, the way he had played a role to get close to her. It's hard to shake. But something has shifted. She knows it. He knows it. And they both know there's no turning back now. One day, a week later, after the silence between them has stretched long enough to become unbearable, Ethan shows up at her desk, as calm and composed as ever, but this time with something different in his eyes. Lucy, he says, his voice soft, can we talk? She looks up, heart thudding in her chest, her thoughts immediately racing. Of course, she replies, standing up quickly. We need to clear the air, don't we? Yes, he answers, a small, knowing smile pulling at the corners of his lips. But I'm not here for apologies anymore. She swallows, a mixture of relief and nervousness flooding her senses. Then what are you here for? He steps closer, lowering his voice just enough that no one else can overhear. I want to show you something, he says. Something real. Something that's not about work, or power, or appearances. Just us. Lucy hesitates, unsure what to say. What if this is another act, another game? What if he's just trying to redeem himself in her eyes? But then again, what if this is the moment she's been waiting for? The moment where she can see the truth of who he is, without the walls he's built around himself. Okay, she says finally, taking a deep breath. Let's go. They leave the office together, walking out into the bustling streets of the city, the noise and chaos of the world surrounding them. But for the first time, she doesn't feel overwhelmed. Ethan doesn't say much as they walk. He simply leads the way, his hand brushing hers occasionally, but it's enough to make her heart flutter. Finally, they arrive at a small art gallery, tucked away between two larger buildings, almost hidden from view. The door opens with a soft chime, and Lucy steps inside, immediately struck by the calm, quiet atmosphere. The walls are lined with paintings, some abstract, some realistic, all beautiful in their own way. Ethan stops in front of one of the paintings, a soft smile on his face as he gazes at it. "This," he says, turning to her, "is where I've been hiding." "Hiding?" she repeats, confused. "What do you mean?" "This is my true passion," he says. "I've always loved art. Always wanted to be a part of it, to create. But I let business take over. I let my father's expectations take over. I let everything become about power and control, when all I've ever wanted was to create something beautiful." She looks at him, really looks at him, for the first time since she found out who he really was. And in that moment, she sees something different in his eyes. Vulnerability, honesty, a desire to be seen for who he truly is, not just for what he represents. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asks softly, her voice trembling. He shrugs, his expression uncertain. "I didn't know how. I was afraid of what you'd think. I was afraid that you wouldn't see me as anything more than the CEO, the man with the money. I wanted to show you who I really am." She steps closer to him, her heart aching with the truth of his words. "I didn't see you that way," she says. "But I see it now. I see you." Ethan reaches out, his hand brushing against her cheek, his touch gentle, tentative. "I want to make this right, Lucy. I want to be the person you can trust. The person who makes you feel safe." The words sink deep into her chest, filling the empty spaces she's tried to ignore. She wants to believe him. She wants to trust him. But there's still a part of her that holds back, still a part of her that's scared of being hurt again. "How do we move forward from here?" she asks, her voice barely a whisper. "One step at a time," he says, his voice steady. "And I'll prove to you, every day, that I'm worth trusting, that I'm worth loving." She closes her eyes, feeling the weight of his words settle around her. It's not going to be easy, she knows that. There will be more moments of doubt, more questions, more fears. But for the first time, she feels like they might be able to face it together. "Okay," she says, her voice thick with emotion. "Let's take that step." Ethan smiles, a smile that reaches his eyes, a smile that tells her he's not giving up on her. "Thank you," he whispers. "Thank you for giving me a chance." And in that moment, standing in the quiet art gallery with the paintings around them and the city's noise just outside, Lucy knows that this is where they start. A new beginning. A second chance. A chance to create something beautiful together. Months pass since that afternoon in the art gallery, and with each passing day, Lucy feels herself breathing a little easier. The walls she had built up around her heart, the ones she had constructed to protect herself from the lies, from the betrayal, begin to crack. Ethan doesn't rush her. He doesn't try to force his way back into her life. Instead, he shows up every day, little by little, proving his words weren't just empty promises. He's there when she needs him, not as the CEO, not as the man with the wealth or the power, but as Ethan, the man who cares, the man who wants to be better. And slowly, Lucy lets herself see him that way. She watches him at work, how he interacts with everyone, with humility and respect, not hiding behind his title, but standing side by side with the people around him. He treats his employees like equals, and Lucy can't help but admire him for it. She finds herself laughing with him again, the way they used to, the way it felt before everything became complicated. They go on dates, small and simple, walks through the park, quiet dinners at a local restaurant, nothing extravagant. But each moment with him feels more real than the last. There are still moments of doubt, moments when Lucy questions if she's doing the right thing. But Ethan is patient, giving her space when she needs it, always reassuring her that they are taking this one step at a time. The turning point comes on a quiet evening in the spring. Ethan picks her up from work, as he has done countless times, and this time, instead of going to a restaurant or a cafe, he drives her to the rooftop of the building they both work in. Lucy looks around, surprised. "Ethan, what is this?" she asks. He smiles, his eyes warm. "It's our place. Just for us. No titles. No expectations. Just us." She feels her heart race as he takes her hand, guiding her to the edge of the rooftop, where the city skyline stretches out before them, the lights twinkling in the distance. "I've been thinking about this for a while," he says softly. "I want to make things official. Not just in my heart, but in yours too. I want you to be with me, Lucy, in every way. No more hiding. No more pretending." Lucy's breath catches in her throat. She knows what he's about to say, but hearing it makes her heart swell with emotion. Ethan drops to one knee, taking her hand in his. "Lucy Hale, will you marry me?" His voice is steady, filled with sincerity. The world around them seems to stop, the city noises fading away, leaving just the two of them, standing there in the soft glow of the evening light. Tears well up in Lucy's eyes as she looks at him, her heart racing, her thoughts scattered. She remembers the pain, the hurt, the lies, but she also remembers the moments of kindness, of patience, of love that he has shown her. "Yes," she whispers, her voice thick with emotion. "Yes, I will." Ethan stands up, pulling her into a tight embrace as if afraid she might disappear. "Thank you," he murmurs, his voice full of relief. "Thank you for giving me a chance." As they stand there, wrapped in each other's arms, Lucy knows this is the beginning of a new chapter. It hasn't been easy, and there will still be challenges ahead, but they have learned to rebuild trust, to rebuild love, one step at a time. And with Ethan by her side, Lucy knows they can face anything that comes their way. The future is uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, Lucy feels a sense of peace settle in her heart. This is where she belongs. With him. A new beginning. A new life. Together.